Hey everyone, this is Harry, and in this video we're going to talk about Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. I'm not sure if you guys are following that, but yesterday we had a new trailer, an extended gameplay trailer for Bloodlines 2. So it's been a while since the last time we saw that, so I was pretty excited to see, but then we could see some things that we're going to discuss here. Was it good? Was it not? Let's see. Stick around. All right, if you don't know absolutely anything, Bloodlines 2 is the sequel to Bloodlines 1, developed by Troika Games and released in 2004. So it's a very old game, it's a classic game, was very cool at the time. And it's an action RPG. You play as several different vampires from different clans. So this is all following the tabletop RPG series, the franchises. And I used to play that a lot. So it's super, super fun. And they, in Bloodlines 1, they were super truthful to the original tabletop. So that was great to see. And then with Bloodlines 2, now we have the much awaited sequel to that. So the development has been struggling for a while. The first announcement was in 2019. We got the first few trailers, but then it went downhill from there. We didn't get a lot, and what we got was that in 2021, the studio behind the production was Hardsuit Labs and published by Paradox. The studio was cut off, so they were kind of fired. They were not anymore responsible for the title, and Paradox then handed the game to the Chinese Room, very competent studio. They developed quite a lot games in like 15 years of experience that they have or something. So yeah, on the one hand, is in very good hands. On the other hand, since 2021, we continue to see very little of the game, which is natural, like migrating from one studio to another. It's a very big overhead to the new studio. And the game has a lot of different systems, so it's understandable that they are taking their time. The thing is that with the new trailer that we just got, we see that the game is still very rough on the edges, very unfinished in a lot of systems. We saw a little bit of dialogue and choices and a lot of combat. The combat felt kind of basic, I would say, a little bit of powers here and there, but I don't know. Leave a comment below if you think the trailer captured the essence of Bloodlines 2 should be, right? That's the first thing. But I'm a game designer and a game producer. I have been that for the past 10 years, as you guys know. And I want to comment more on the production side. Like we have mentioned that already. Like migrating from one studio to another is a big overhead. So imagine, it's like migrating engines midway through production. That's craziness. And we have seen a couple of games trying to do that, and it did not go well. Here we change the entire team, the entire studio behind the development. That is even a bigger overhead. All of the team, all of the direction, everything changed. And they had like maybe 2 years to develop this new version that we see today from 2021 until now. And it's still a little rough on the edges, which is okay because the game is not finished yet. The problem is that supposedly the game's gonna come up and it's going to be released this year. So I'm not sure if the team is going to be able to put up everything they need to and complete all of the systems, all of the polish needed until, just a couple months. And not even that. You have to have the game finished and basically completed at least a couple months before that, so you can handle all of the marketing, all of the publishing side of things that you need before the game actually becomes live. So in my years of experience with the games industry, working with several different teams, I kind of see that a lot. I see that features are half-baked midway through production, and many times they stay like that until release, which is very bad. The thing is that the expectation is at alpha, all of the features in the game are implemented, so everything should be there. But I question that kind of approach. Because that means, many times, it means what we saw in this new trailer, and we have been seeing for Bloodlines 2. A lot of apparently half-baked systems, unfinished, unpolished features, And many times, it's great if the team has all of the time and all of the resources to polish that until the game is completed and ready to be released. But that is many times not the case. Those half-baked systems and features and animations and whatever, they all go through the front door when the game is released. And that's what players receive. And many times, kind of what happened with Cyberpunk 2077, the team tries to bring more polish after release, right? But depends on the model. Like Cyberpunk suffered a lot because of that, and I feel that Bloodlines 2 will do as well. So as a producer, what I would advise for teams to do in that situation is to focus more on the priorities. Like understand what the priorities are, because many times you don't even know where to focus on. You have to do so many things and everything has to be ready. But I would say in the case of Bloodlines 2, you have to kind of understand what the universe of Vampire asks from you. What are the most important things? How does the player need to feel playing that game? And polish those systems that are more in line with that, right? We see a lot of combat in the trailer, a lot of hand-to-hand combat. And if you see the comments, a lot of players saying that that's not exactly what they were expecting, because if you play the tabletop version, if you play the original Bloodlines 1, you know that most of the engagement you take from a game like that is not like simply hand-to-hand combat. There's a lot more than that. Of course, we cannot judge before the final result. Maybe the team was just ready to show that part, that kind of combat, and everything else, it needs a little bit more polish to be, released later or revealed later. But still, what you decide to show to people after a while, like this was the first trailer in a while, right? I think that sends a message, and I'm not sure that's the right message for the team. We know that the Chinese Room is a very competent team. I am still hopeful that the final release will be awesome. I mean, Bloodlines 2 deserves a worthwhile sequel, right? The first one was so classic. And I hope the second one will be that too. Even if it needs a little bit more polish after release, just like Cyberpunk did, that's not the end of the world. It might happen and still come up to be a great game. But the approach that I think would be more valuable for a lot of teams out there to avoid this half-baked features and this rough edges in a lot of games that we see is what is called concentric development. And concentric development means building from the core outwards, means building and polishing the core of the game before you create other systems. So you have your primary systems, secondary systems, and you build the game like that in such a way that the core is always much more polished than in a lot of other productions that don't do that, right? Because in many productions, when you have the alpha stage of the game, you have everything there. So all of the systems, all of, different areas of the game and systems and enemy types, etc. But it's all very unpolished. So when you see a trailer, when you see a teaser, whatever, that doesn't sound great, right? And concentric development would bring a lot more polish to the core, to the parts of the game that really means something to players first, right? Before all of the secondary systems are in place. So if teams would follow that throughout development, I believe we would see much less of rough edges and half-baked games upon release, right? So I think the thing is that a lot of teams, they have 10, 15, 20 years of experience in games. So they kind of know what they're doing. And that might be a trap as well, because a lot of bad habits are carried over from project to project, from team to team, and onboarding new people. So new hires also get those same bad habits when they join a team. And then you have little room because, game development is always so chaotic, almost always so chaotic across several different teams, that you don't have many times the ability to stop and rethink what you are doing and how you can do it better, how you can do it in a more efficient way to guarantee that games are released in a better state. And many times that means not releasing the game with like 50 different features, right? From crafting to all kinds of customization. Maybe you can leave that to a DLC or a patch after, after release, so you can really focus on what matters the most and to guarantee that that core, the most important features for the game, are super polished upon release. I think that's the main message here. Once again, I just want to reinforce that I'm still very hopeful for Bloodlines 2. I hope the game is great. The franchise really needs that. I think it's a great franchise and universe to have. I want more games in that same universe. And the Chinese Ruin and Paradox team, they are extremely competent, and I'm eager to see more. All right, if you enjoyed that video, let me know in the comments below. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on the notifications so you don't miss the next videos here in the channel. And yeah, let me know in the comments what your expectations are for Bloodlines 2. That's it for now. See you guys.